the keys are to the glory days at the stick. From who's got it better than us to brick by brick. It's always the 49ers way, from off-season to game day. Yeah, we talk back. It's the 49ers Cutback.
It's 49ers Cutback Podcast time. Welcome to the show. Ready to talk quarterbacks, and boy, has this been a polarizing topic throughout the entire offseason. Is it Brock? Is it Trey? Is it Sam? Is it Brandon? It could be any one of those guys. Maybe not Brandon. But when it comes to the San Francisco 49ers quarterback position, it feels like ever since 2020, there's been a conversation about who the 49ers quarterback should be. In 2020, of course, should it be Jimmy Garoppolo or should it be Tom Brady? In 2021, Trey Lance is drafted, and then is it Jimmy or Trey? Then now is it Trey, Brock, or Sam? A lot of things need to be decided for the 49ers through training camp in the preseason. John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan have selfly admitted that, hey, it's going to be Brock Purdy if he's healthy. He's the leader in the clubhouse. But there's still decisions that need to be made between Trey Lance and Sam Darnold. For the mere fact that when it comes to Brock Purdy, we just don't know for sure when he's going to be healthy. Projections are he's got a really good chance to be starting week 1 if he comes back, in the beginning part of August. Maybe like August 1, there would be a real shot for him to be ready for the season. But most projections have it being the end of August, which puts things a little bit more up in the air about Brock Purdy's availability for week 1 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Because the closer you get to the end of August, that means it's more of a chance that the 49ers feel they have to give him extra time to acclimate to getting comfortable taking snaps, going through and playing with certain players, getting the rhythm of the offense. And then you want to go with a player that has been doing it through training camp. So what happens if Brock Purdy's not healthy? Well, it's going to be Trey Lance for Sam Darnold for that starting job. And even if Brock is healthy, it's Trey Lance versus Sam Darnold to see who is going to back him up. The third guy is going to be available on game day, but only if the first two guys are injured. The first two guys are injured, then he comes in, and you can't bring one of those other players back. That third emergency quarterback has to play. So your options are you want to be that number 2. That way you have an opportunity to start when games come around. So with Trey Lance and Sam Darnold, there's a tremendous amount of similarities as far as build. Both of them go about 6'4", 225 pounds. Both picked 3rd overall in their draft. Sam Darnold in 2018, Trey Lance in 2021. Both players have really good arms, big arms. They're physically athletic. Neither one of them can't escape the pocket. They're both able to do that. Both of them are able to make all the throws on the field that you need a quarterback to make. Now, we've seen a little bit of different successes, of course, and with Sam being in the league longer than Trey Lance, he has a bigger resume. With a bigger resume doesn't always come favorable comments, though, because there has been mistakes. He's turned the football over. He's had a low completion percentage. He's under 60%. So there are things about Sam Darnold that make you pause about how good he could be for the San Francisco 49ers offense. You throw in the fact that as a starter, he's 21-34. That is not the best. With Trey Lance, the question marks more come around experience. He just hasn't played that much football in general, let alone in the NFL. He's 2-2 as a starter, 2 wins, 2 losses, and really when it comes down to it, we don't know a whole lot about who Trey is or who he will be. There are, of course, projections on both players about what they could be, and playing for Kyle Shanahan is definitely a better opportunity for both of them to succeed. So when you're looking at these two guys and comparing them, where there are similarities, there's also some contrasts in styles. Sam Darnold's a more natural thrower of the football. His motion and technique is there. He can sling it around, but he also turns over the football at a pretty high rate. With Trey Lance, there's been more questions about his mechanics. Can he get those under wraps? And of course, he's been working on that very diligently during the offseason to continue to improve his mechanics. It's been 2 off seasons now of Trey Lance working on getting his lower half first and then his upper half in a better situation to throw and complete passes. With Trey, it's going to be all about what happens when he gets into move the ball situations in training camp. Because last year when I went to training camp, you would see him having great success on 7-on-7 and even on 11-on-11 drills. When they started going to move the football and it wasn't scripted and Kyle Shanahan was calling against the defense, you could somewhat see Trey struggle at times. And that somewhat filtered into the season as well. Because now you're having to think on the fly. You're going through your progressions. And he just slowed up a little bit. The arm talent's still there. He can make every throw you want him to make. He's athletic enough to get outside the pocket, extend plays. You want to call a design run, he can execute those as well. That's what you see from him, though. If he's able to fix that, go through his reads faster, and be able to deliver the football in rhythm, then Trey Lance is a phenomenal quarterback. He can handle everything you want. In fact, he can be elite if that sort of thing is working in his favor now. That mental part of the game, he's being able to execute reading that quickly. You've got to read really fast to be successful in the NFL. And if Trey can do that, I think he can really take the next step and be a big-time quarterback. With Sam Darnold, the problems haven't been so much reading. It's what are you reading? Everyone's he's very famous for that quote, I'm seeing ghosts, which means he felt like he was seeing players that weren't there. Sometimes when reading defenses, you can go through seeing guys that potentially aren't there and you can be hesitant about delivering the football. Other times you see things that aren't there and you throw the football. So with Sam Darnold, it's all about comfort. And that's why I think Sam Darnold is going to have some success with Kyle Shanahan. Because with Kyle Shanahan, he gets wide receivers and playmakers open to get the football. That openness and also the way that Kyle goes about it where, hey, these are the reads. This is how it's going to work against this defense. Go through your progressions and it's going to work out. Those types of things are going to help Sam Darnold. Easier reads mean less chance to get confused. We talked about the physical traits that both of these quarterbacks have. That's not a question mark. They should be able to attack every single inch of grass that is on the field. However, them being able to do it successfully is another story. And everyone likes to dig the long ball. And Trey Lance completes more average yards per catch than Sam Darnold does. Darnold has been more comfortable, especially last year at Carolina, about taking what the defense gives him, checking the ball underneath, or just completing those passes in rhythm. Sam Darnold definitely made an improvement in Carolina in 2022. He became more efficient. He turned over the ball less, and Carolina won more football games. His head coach at the time, Steve Wilks, 49ers defensive coordinator. So I think there's a little bit of confidence in what Sam Darnold could do in a Kyle Shanahan run offense. Because Sam Darnold is a better scrambler of the football than Trey Lance. When things break down, Sam Darnold gets more yardage than Trey Lance does. One of the big topics that I've heard a lot of people talking about over the offseason, they just want to see Trey used as a quarterback. Stop running him. Kyle, just stop calling these design runs. You got to trust him to make those throws. That's not Kyle's job to trust someone to do something they haven't proven they're capable of doing. Kyle's job is to find their skill set and use it to the best of their ability to make them have the most success. And for Trey Lance, that means that last year his stage in his career was using his legs and design runs. He was trying to help Trey develop the passing game, the rhythm, the reads, going through all that progression, all the while using some of his really good traits in running the football to help him stay on the field. So, yes, you want to be able to trust your quarterback. You want to be able to trust all your players to make the proper play. But sometimes you have to realize what their strengths and weaknesses are. It doesn't mean those weaknesses can't become strengths as they develop, but until then, you use the strengths they have to help develop them. So no, I don't expect for Trey Lance to just be used as a prototypical pocket quarterback. That's not what the 49ers envision Trey Lance being. And right now, he hasn't proven that he's there. Of course, if he comes into training camp and his offseason work with Coach Christensen makes him, complete passes at another level and he's hitting in rhythm, then yes, that's exactly what Kyle Shanahan will start to do. Because then one of his best assets will be delivering the football from the pocket. Kyle Shanahan ultimately wants somebody that can win from the pocket. That's what he said. He wishes that they could win from the pocket and then still be able to escape when nothing is there. When all hell breaks loose, get outside the pocket and make something happen. That's why the 49ers fell in love with Brock Purdy last year. Hey, when it wasn't there, he made something happen outside the pocket. He extended plays. He had the guts to make throws. So, do we know what we're going to get out of Trey Lance coming in? Not really. He's more of an unknown than Sam Darnold. I think the question marks for Sam Darnold are more, what's he going to look like under Kyle Shanahan? Can he show the efficiency he was starting to show in Carolina, all the while taking steps forward in other areas? I think that's the big question for this quarterback room. I think with the amount of investment the 49ers have put in Trey Lance and just the mere fact they haven't really seen him be able to compete in games, I would think Trey has a little bit of an advantage over Sam Darnold. Trey understands this offense inside and out. He understands how Kyle sees the game. He understands how exactly this quarterback room operates. So Sam Darnold's behind the eight ball in those aspects. Where Darnold has the advantage is the fact that he has played and started 55 games in his career. He's seen tons of blitzes. He's been blitzed over 26% of snaps that he's taken as a quarterback. That is a ton of blitzing that he's seen. So he has seen a lot of different things, and that is going to help him along the way. I think right now, Trey Lance has the upper hand, and I think Trey Lance will end up being quarterback 2 for the 49ers, with Darnold being quarterback 3. That's only if Brock Purdy is able to start. If not, we'll see. If Trey Lance can't prove that he can win from the pocket consistently during training camp in the preseason, Sam Darnold might overtake him. Because the 49ers don't want to rely on Trey Lance's legs to win football games like they were willing to do in 2022. Now it's about efficiency. It's about getting the ball in the playmaker's hands. If Trey can do that, great. This offense can take off, and he can make a lot of huge plays for the 49ers offense. If he can't, that gives Sam Darnold his opportunity to step in there, because those are the things he's learned since 2018. He's been through the fire, understands what he has to do, but Trey Lance has to give him an opportunity for Sam Darnold to have a chance to overtake him. If Trey Lance comes in there and executes his plays and his snaps, he's going to be the guy that either starts game 1 because Brock's still hurt, or backs up Brock in week 1 because he's proven that he's the next best option. Now, of course, both of these guys, if they're not available, early on in the season to be quarterback 2, could ultimately be traded. I don't know if that's going to happen. That's a conversation for another day. But I think when it comes to this competition, it's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be about who wins better in the pocket. It's less about design runs. It's about who is efficient, who makes plays and makes throws, and who operates within this offense and operates with great rhythm. So I'm super excited to see this thing play out at training camp and who ultimately takes that next step. Of course, once we know more news about Brock Purdy, this quarterback room will really take shape. But let me know who you think is going to win this quarterback battle between Sam Darnold and Trey Lance. Does Trey Lance take that next step? All the work he's done has gotten him to that point. You still believe he's got that upside? I think he's got upside as well. Or do you think it's Sam Darnold, who's still a young guy, going to be 26 years old, got all the physical traits in the world, has become more efficient? Can Kyle Shanahan make him that next big quarterback? I want you to let me know in the comment section down below who you think is going to win this battle. And it's going to be a huge battle between the two. So I'm really curious who everyone thinks wins. And also, let me know, hey, do you think Brock Purdy's going to be back before week 1? Or, is it going to be Trey or Sam that start in that game? Really curious what you all think. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, on the push for 4K. Training camp just around the corner. Looking forward to going out there and seeing these battles happen in real time. But until then, stay safe and remember, the right way is always the 49ers way.